The award-winning Tennessee WildCast is on the air with the latest on hunting, fishing, boating, wildlife watching, and all things outdoors. Make welcome your host, drummer and outdoor expert novice, Jason Harmon.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Tennessee WildCast. We're glad you're tuning in. Hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for Ledbetter. He's one of the hosts on Kill and Eat TV, so it's going to be a fun show having him on. He's been turkey hunting this year and chasing some birds, and I think he's got some stories for us, so it should be a fun conversation. And got Mr. Matt Cameron. He's outreach and communications coordinator out in East Tennessee, and he's going to help me co-host today. Thanks for having you both. Glad y'all are both here.
I'm glad to be here.
Awesome, Jason. Thanks for letting me co-host with you again, man. Especially talking about turkeys, one of the most funnest things, I guess you could say, to hunt in the woods, and the most frustrating things to hunt in the woods.
Absolutely.
That's for sure. That's for sure. I know turkey season's been going well here in Tennessee. We've got a lot of folks out now that the COVID-19 pandemic's kind of hit. You know, folks are out doing more outdoorsy things, and I think license sales are up. I think folks are out there hunting and fishing, and I think the turkey harvest is up this year, so it's good to see folks out there enjoying the outdoors.
Absolutely, man.
Gabe, I wanted to start and just let you introduce yourself. And I know you're in Missouri, based out of Missouri, and do a lot of hunting all over the U.S., but tell us about yourself.
Yeah, man. So like I said, man, I'm from Kansas originally, a Kansas boy, born and bred, and been in Missouri now for the last few years. And like you said, I'm one of the hosts of Kill and Eat TV. And I also run Hill Creek Outfitters with my brother. We have an awesome time doing that. So when it's all said and done, man, we get to have a lot of fun and do a lot of hunting and good eating, and that's what it's all about for us, man.
Awesome. And you met Matt, or Matt came across y'all's Instagram and Facebook pages. I guess that's at Kill and Eat TV. You got a website, Kill and Eat TV, but he came across your stuff and met you guys and said these would be some awesome guys to have on the show. So we're glad you're here with us today. And
now we're in business with him, man. We worked out a partnership with him, and so we're working with John T. Baptist now at Kill and Eat, and we're having an awesome time doing that, and we're excited about that as well. So It's a good time, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and throw it up. Here's what we're collaborating on. I don't know if you can see it or not, but a long beard version of our beard wax.
Everybody needs one of those, man.
Every outdoorsman with a beard could use some of that. So anyway, long beards and beards just go together, and I'm tickled to be in partnership with you guys.
Yeah, us too, man. And if you guys got any turkeys on the wall, I'm sure that wax work just as good on their beards. Just keep them looking nice.
I hadn't thought about that. We have to market it that way.
Yeah, that goes for you and your turkey mounts, man.
That's great. That's awesome. Well, how's your season been going so far, Gabe? What you been up to? Are you limited out yet?
Man, I wish I could say I was, but as a turkey hunter, I feel like, and you guys, give me your input on this, but I feel like, about once every 3 years or so, you kind of have a different season. And this is kind of my different season. When turkey hunting's good, it's good. It goes textbook. You walk in there, sit down underneath a roosted bird, and he flies down on top of your decoys and you kill him. And that's turkey hunting at its best. So that's how it normally goes. And this, I'm kind of in one of my off years. It's just a little bit different right now. I've been chasing birds in Kansas, and I got out to my absolute best property in Kansas, man. And actually a fire got out of hand on our neighbor's property and burnt through most of ours, which is not the end of the world, but it did push the turkeys to the opposite side of the property where there's not a lot of open country to set up decoys. So it's been a little bit of a different season so far, but it's been fun chasing them anyways.
Are you hunting mostly private land or public land there where you're at?
That's a private, and that's what I've been hunting mostly this year is private ground. So, yeah.
We'll have to get you to Tennessee sometime soon. Maybe you can chase some of these public.
Yeah, you cut out on me a little bit there, but I think you said chase some turkeys on public ground in Tennessee. I'd be all for it, man. I've been to Tennessee. You guys got some gorgeous country out there, man. Really do. So yeah, sounds like a good time.
Awesome. Yeah. Hey, Matt, chime in there. I know you've been chasing some birds this year in Tennessee, and you struggled there initially, but I think you connected there just recently.
Yeah, my batting average is pretty low this year. I'll just say, called one down to my son on the youth hunt, and unfortunately he missed that one, and been close a couple times, and I finally did connect on one a couple weeks ago. So just feel as blessed as I can be to even have one this year. But I've probably been in the woods 20 plus times, and last year it was easy for me. I'm kind of like Gabe here. I think I killed one, and my son killed 3, and I called another one in for my nephew. So, man, I thought I knew what I was doing until this year. I've been humbled quite a bit.
Well, I don't know what I'm doing. I've only turkey hunted for 3 or 4 years now, and I get excited to get out there and chase birds. And I've had people tell me, "Well, your call sounds good," but I don't. I've only connected with 2 birds, and this year I've had no luck, so I don't have a story to tell. So we'll move on.
Turkey hunting.
But yeah, so I was hoping Gabe could enlighten us a little bit, tell us about some tips for chasing birds through the middle of the season. We're right in the middle of the season for Tennessee, and the turkey hunting seems to slow down, as the season moves on. But I'm still seeing a lot of birds here in Tennessee for sure. But how would you give us some tips, or what would you tell us if we're going to try to chase birds in the middle of the season and the pressure's been on them?
Yeah, I'm a big believer that the reason that it slows down like it does a lot of times, it's kind of like soldiers, man, when they've been at war for a while, sometimes they get tired and weary, man, and it can be the same way in the turkey woods. And so I think middle of the season, if a guy can really do a lot more scouting than he does hunting and figure out what the numbers are like, for instance, on that same piece of property in Kansas last year, I sat down there 3 days in a row, man, and all 3 days I had 17 jakes come in at the same place 3 days in a row, man, and it was just brutal as far as getting longbeards in there because, hey, longbeard's not going to hang around when he's got 17 jakes whooping up on him all day long. Mm. And so when you just got to know, man, if you can do your scout and know what the density of jakes and toms are, then you can know what decoys to put out, man. And I think that plays a huge role in it if you can figure out what your property looks like, how many jakes you got on it. Because the last thing you want to do when a bird's been being whooped up on by a bunch of jakes is go out there and put a strutting jake on top of a hen, because the chances are he's not just going to come strolling in there and beat him up, So I think a lot of times what you can do, man, is you can change the game by, putting just a standing jake maybe, but I definitely wouldn't throw up a dominant fan, late season, middle season like that, because I just don't think you're accomplishing what you're wanting to do. I think you need to paint the picture and kind of face. I like to face a decoy at me, so an old tom that's maybe been whooped up a couple times, he can kind of sneak in from the back and feel like he's got the upper hand. And I think there's a lot of things you can do like that in the middle of the season or late season to kind of turn things in your direction and in your favor. But Matt, you got any input on that? What did you think about that, man? I mean, what would you say about that middle season turkey hunting?
I'm finding out that going to the woods too often can actually hurt your turkey hunting chances. And it kind of sounds backwards. You think the law of averages would tell you the more times you go, the more chances of success that you can have. But I think I've put too much pressure on the 2 properties that I've been hunting, and I have educated those birds. And I'm not a great caller, primarily friction caller, and I think they've gotten used to the calls that I'm using. I've been using a strutting jake as well. I'm glad you brought that up. And in my mind, I thought, well, maybe that's going to aggravate those gobblers that I've got a strutting jake out here with this hen, and maybe they'll come in and whoop him. But I just found out this past week exactly what you said, that a group of jakes will actually beat up a gobbler. It's just a numbers thing and run him out. So I feel like that's probably a lot of my problem is they'll come and they'll look at me from 100 yards, 120 yards, and they'll check it out. But there's no way I could close the deal. No matter what I did, I could not get those birds to come on in. So, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, I agree.
So now I'm resorting. Sorry about that, Jason.
You're good.
I feel like now I'm putting the calls down, and I've been scouting more, exactly what you said, and I feel like I know where the birds are coming or going to when they fly down off the roost. I know where they're heading, so I'm just going to try to get out in front of them, cut them off, and try to pick one off, kind of deer hunt them, I guess you could say, a little bit. And to me, that's not nearly as fun as calling that bird into you and watching him strut. That's kind of why I turkey hunt, but I guess desperate times call for desperate measures, and I think just try to pick one off here for the remainder of the Tennessee season.
So y'all both mentioned the decoy. Do you think the decoy is still needed during this time of the year, or you think, are you going to use one mid-season?
If I did, I would only probably use a feeding hen or something like that, or maybe a Jake that's not strutting. I think a lot of the breeding's over with where I've been hunting. They don't seem to be that active as far as looking for a hen talking to them. I think they're just going back to feeding. I feel like the gobblers are trying to group back up now and hang out with the boys, if you will. So I'm probably going single decoy or no decoys at all, and just trying to get in front of them and pick one off.
I'd say I'm with Matt on that one, man. You just got to be, if the turkey hunting's tough, then you just need to be careful about how you use a decoy. I just think it can make a huge difference on, like he said, I think you could just, maybe not even take one, or just put out a feeding hen, something that's real relaxed, like Matt said. And I think you'd be a lot better off than going with the typical fanned out tom and standing over a hen. I think you'd be a lot better off, like Matt said.
Cool. So let's jump into the call. What kind of call are you using this time of year? Does as the year changes, do you move from a slate to a box to mouth call, or do you jump around, or what's your preference?
For me, man, if you got 2 or 3 different tones, I think it's all you need. And as far as box call goes, I'll be honest with you. When I'm in Kansas, I'll carry one because you got to fight a lot of wind in Kansas. So I will take one when I go to Kansas, but a lot of times I don't even have to use it. It just all depends on where you locate a tom at and what kind of wind you got through. But most of the time, I think anybody's better off with a slate call. If you can just learn to use one at all, they just sound the best. They really do. They sound the most natural. And if you can just work with one a little bit of practice, and you can sound good enough to just kill a turkey on a good day, man. And so I think slate calls and mouth calls. A lot of times, what I'll do is I'll keep a mouth call in my mouth underneath the face mask. That way, if a tom comes in and he closes the distance, and maybe you're hunting by yourself and you got 2 hands on a shotgun, when he gets in sight, if you can see a turkey, then he can see you. So you got to forget about the movement then. So you'll have to lay the slate call down and then switch to a mouth call. So I think it's good to be prepared and have both for sure in a situation like that.
Yeah, that mouth call is tough for me. I've never really tried, I guess, or mastered the mouth call. So maybe just a little bark or something with your mouth might work. You never know.
Yeah. Just a few clucks here and there, man. You might be golden.
Yeah. So do you get more aggressive mid-season with your calling, or do you still, what's your pattern this time of year?
So for me, Matt, why don't you take that one, man? I took the last one. I'll jump in after you. You go ahead and take that one.
Well, just from my observations, I'm not seeing a lot of that breeding activity anymore. And it got so hot early here. I think the beginning of the season was just prime for Tennessee, at least in East Tennessee where I've been. And that's been a few weeks now. And I think that breeding activity slowed down. I'm seeing hens off by themselves a lot. I feel like they're sitting on their nests already. And I just don't think the gobblers are as interested as they were. But having said that, I've been on social media, and a lot of folks around me that I know had birds work for them just like you'd want them to, and called them right in. But where I've been, it's either I've educated them too much, they don't pay any attention to me, or they're done with the breeding. So I feel like the aggressive calling isn't working. It was working for me early on. I was getting them to come and look. Now they're not even really paying attention to it. Either my calling's bad, which I know it's not very good, or they're just not that interested in the excited calls right now.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, man. And I would say for me, it's for me, the kind of rule of thumb is if a tom's not just cutting me off, then I'll kind of lay off and just kind of be more patient. And that's not the funnest way to turkey hunt. Everybody wants to get out there and have a tom run them over, and every time he calls, the tom cuts him off gobbling. And that's turkey hunting at its best. Here in the Ozarks, some call this the home of turkey hunting, right here where we're at. And that's the way we like it the best. We want to be ran over by a tom, but when it's not working like that, sometimes you get, like you said earlier, you just got to become more of a deer hunter, which that's not really what you want to do in the springtime. I get it. Everybody wants to run and gun and enjoy the nice weather. But sometimes when they're not cutting you off, you just got to relax, be patient, and and what I like to do myself, if a turkey's hung up or he's just not real active, not being real vocal, I like to sit back and I'll wait for him to gobble. A lot of times he may gobble at a crow or whatever he gobbles at, but when he does that, I'll cut him off with a call. And then we'll kind of switch the roles. We'll switch from turkey hunting as normal to him cutting me off, and I'll start cutting him off. So that's like what I like to do late season. I think if you can switch the roles and you show him that you're just going to cut him off and you start calling at him, I think a lot of times that really helps them late season like that when they're not near as active.
The next part I wanted to hit on was kill and eat. I mean, the second part of your name is eat. So tell us, y'all utilize everything, right? I mean, it's all about the harvest and taking home some meat for the family and that kind of thing, right?
Absolutely, man. We love to eat, that's for sure.
Any tips on recipes and ideas for folks that are turkey hunting or got a bird in the freezer already? What's your favorite recipe with a big gobbler?
Man, for me, I like trying new things and new recipes, and I don't care. I'll try some crazy stuff. I don't really care. I'll eat it all. But with all that new recipes and all those other things, I always seem to come back to the good old turkey nuggets. Man, chop them up about 1-inch slices, put them in egg, batter that thing in salt and pepper, and throw it in some deep grease. And that, man, I think for me, that is absolutely the best way to have turkey is just turkey nuggets. And, it's just, you don't got to get fancy with it. It's just scramble you up some eggs and throw it in there. Get you a good thick batter on there, salt and pepper, man, you'll be fat and happy.
Matt, what's your favorite? I know you I think I seen some Instagram post or a Facebook post or something. You'd cooked something up here recently. What's your favorite?
We're eating some from last year right now and saving the one I killed recently, for later. But we had it stir fried the other day, which was really, really good. I had some deer tenderloin.
I bet that was good right there.
Oh yeah, it was excellent. It tenderized it pretty good with all the vegetables in there. Had the deer with it, so it came out really nice with some rice and a baked potato. So nothing fancy. It turned out pretty good. We've tried it in a crock pot earlier this year. It didn't come out as tender as we'd hoped. So I've been told if you add some butter and some fat to that it helps tenderize it. But have y'all ever cook them in a crock pot at all, Gabe?
I haven't done that. I haven't done it in a crock pot, but what I have done is just a skillet over an open fire and get your grease in there and just get it not to where your turkey's just standing in there, but if you get just an old fashioned skillet with some grease on it, and if you can, this is the most tender. You might try this and see what you think, but this is the most tender way I've had it is to if you can get those slices a lot thinner, and I'm talking about less than an inch thick, both ways, and you can just kind of flash fry those things. You batter it just like you're going to deep fry it, and then you throw it on that grease and just flash fry it for a good minute on each side. That's some tender stuff right there, man.
Yeah, man, it's like after 6:30 here on the Eastern time, man. I'm getting hungry. I think
that's me. And my wife done said supper will be ready at 7:30 here, and so I'm looking forward to it, man.
Absolutely. Hey, Gabe, do y'all have a kill and eat recipe that you could send to us that we could post for our followers?
Absolutely, man. Let me grab you my main ingredient right here.
We got
let me give you just throw a little plug in here for you guys that are going to watch this by video. But this stuff right here, we partnered with this company and this guy, Shifty Seasoning, and man, this is such a clean seasoning. I mean, if you look at the ingredients, if you're into all this thing is just it's really a healthy thing. And one of the this might throw you off a little bit, but one of the main ingredients in it is coffee. And then it's got all the good stuff in there, man. But that Shifty Seasoning is we went to Texas javelina hunting. That'll be an episode that comes out on Mossy Oak Go here in the next few months. You guys will have to check that out. But we had a good time, man. We ate everything from black buck to rattlesnake while we was there, and our main seasoning was that Shifty's, man. And I kid you not, we had some guys in camp there, and we was cooking that over our Camp Chef grills, and they were sampling everything we made. And there was guys literally, they jumped on their phones while we were sitting around the campfire and they started ordering it off Amazon. And so they were hooked, man. I mean, I'm telling you, that shifty seasoning. So that's our main ingredient for sure in everything we do. But yeah, man, that shifty seasoning, y'all go check that out if you would.
Yeah, I'll have to do that. I've heard a lot of people using coffee for seasoning different things. So I could see that being a good secret ingredient for that rub or whatever. But yeah, that's awesome. That's something else I want to talk about. You mentioned Mossy Oak Go and your show. I was just curious, where y'all going to be hunting this year? What can people expect to see on your show when they tune in and that kind of thing?
We're born and bred flatlanders in the state of Kansas, and as you guys know, we got some big old bucks there, and so that's what we was born into, and that's what we do the most of. So you're going to see a lot of open land whitetail hunting. And you might see some elk hunts, and like I said, you're going to see some javelina hunts, and hopefully, if this season turns out to be all right, you're going to see some turkey kills as well. But no, it's going to be a good time, man. We're all about God, family, and the great outdoors, and good food. And so, yeah, you guys tune in to Mossy Oak Go and Kill and Eat TV, and it's going to be a good time. I promise you. You'll have a good time watching it.
So hey, on that note, don't mean to cut you off, Jason, but I've been wondering, as far as turkeys go, do you have a state that you like better than others? I know you're from Kansas. You probably spent a lot of time there and in Missouri, but are there any other states that you've hunted turkey in?
Let's see, man. That's a good question. I honestly don't think. I think I've killed some turkeys in Oklahoma through the years, but you know, Kansas is one of those states, man. It's the coolest thing about it is that my main spot where I hunt there, it's right on the line where the Rios, they come in from the west, and the Easterns, they come in from the east. And so we went there last year, and man, by the time it was said and done, a few of us on that place, we killed an Eastern, we killed a Rio, and we killed hybrids. So that's I'm partial to Kansas because it's like a surprise every time one comes in working the call and the decoy. You don't know what he's going to be until you get him on the ground. So, but yeah, I've got a few different states, and I'd really like to go to Texas. When I was down there javelina hunting, man, we seen lots of birds down there, and there's nothing that works quite like people say an Eastern's by far the hardest to kill in my experience. I mean, they're I don't know if it's necessarily that they're the smartest. I just think that that I've heard people call a Rio. They call them dumb, and I don't think that's. I just think they're more aggressive. They're like a Mike Tyson of the turkey world. I mean, they really are, man. If you talk about fanning a turkey, a Rio is the one you want to fan, man. They'll jump all over you. Man,
yeah. I need to come to Kansas, man. I've only hunted pheasant and quail out there, and it's been several years ago. I've never turkey hunted anywhere but East Tennessee, right here where I live, and it's the most. It's the most frustrating kind of hunting I've ever done, and it could be the easiest kind of hunting I've ever done. Like I said, I've sat down and had them come running to me on a dang string, dust one, and it's over with in 15 minutes. And then there's other times like this year, no matter what I've done, I've tried. If I go high, they go low. If I go left, they go right. If I predict where they're going to be, they're somewhere else. If I go in early, they don't gobble till late. It's just been one of those seasons. So I'd love to get out there and hunt the Rios. I've never hunted them, so that sounds exciting.
We'll get together, man, and do it sometime. It's an absolute blast, man. I'm telling you.
Is there any difference in the way that you hunt them, or is it pretty much the same? Other than, like you said, fanning, they'll come to the fan pretty good.
Yeah. See, I think more my experience is you don't have to call near as much at a Rio, because they'll hang up as soon as you call. They'll just strut out, and you don't call for a sec, they'll come on a run again. So you can. I honestly think it's just because they're so aggressive that it's just a different style of hunting. They'll come right in, and they're ready for a fight anytime, man. So that I wouldn't say it's a lot. I think a lot of times you have to be more patient. I would say that with an Eastern, 100%, you have to be more patient. And you know that, man. There in Tennessee, you've hunted Easterns for years. Sometimes it can be a headache, man. But it's not near as much of a headache a lot of times with a Rio, that's for sure. So it's a little bit different. Awesome.
You said a hybrid. I didn't know there was a hybridization between the two.
Yeah. So them Rios and the Easterns, they'll meet up, and you really got on social media. There's, what is it, 2 years ago? me and my brother doubled up in Kansas, both on hybrid turkeys, and they're a cool mix, man. They make a pretty fan, that's for sure.
So does your calling change? Do you have different ways you call for the different breeds of birds?
I'm going to be honest with you, man. There's guys out there that would say, yeah, man, I'll switch to this, that because they got them Merriam calls and all these different collector's editions. But we use the same stuff everywhere we go, and it all seems to work. So
yeah, just
being honest with you, I think you can kill them all with just a good cluck and maybe a purr here and there.
Yeah. A lot of people's killed deer in blue jeans and a white T-shirt too, so
man.
It's I wouldn't say you could kill a turkey that way. You probably they'll see you, but
yeah, it's a little bit different. But I know what you're saying, man. Fred Bear, he killed him in flannel, man.
Yep.
That's for sure.
Well, before we run out of time, I wanted you to talk about your podcast. I came across that as well. How many episodes y'all got with that going, and is that something y'all do on a regular basis?
Yeah, so that we kind of took a break a little bit from that. When we joined up with Mossy Oak as our main sponsor, it's been just tremendous working with a company like that that's done so much for the outdoor industry, and so we've made some change this year, and it's been really busy. So we've kind of stepped away from the podcast a little bit, but we're actually getting ready to relaunch it. So you guys can definitely be looking out for that. We'd love to have you guys on there as well. My buddy Dylan, one of the other hosts of Killing ETV, he's the one that runs all that. He does a great job with it. Yeah, so there's some episodes on there. I don't know exactly how many, but there'll be more to come. And we've had David Blanton on there. Everybody knows that guy. We've had Jeff Danker. And who else we had on there? Several big name guys like that, and Mark Drury, actually. We had Mark Drury on there not too long ago, and just class that guy. So yeah, there's some good episodes on there you guys can check out.
Awesome. Well, hey, we're going to run out of time, so I guess we'll wrap it up. But I appreciate you being on the show with us. That's killingeattv.com. Also found them Kill and Eat TV on Instagram and Facebook. But Gabe, we appreciate you jumping in here, and Matt, appreciate you too. I think this will be a great show for our viewers and listeners, and hopefully they'll learn something and take it and use it and kill them a turkey this year.
Absolutely, and thank you guys so much. It's been a pleasure to be with y'all. We really appreciate it.
Awesome.
Same here. And yeah, and a lot of times we're running into folks that they kill something, they don't know what to do with it, don't know how to clean it, how to cook it and all that. So I think this is going to be a great resource for our followers to learn some recipes and learn what you do with it after you get the thing home.
For sure.
Awesome. Yep. All right. Well, guys, I appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Tennessee WildCast, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hey, it's all about Tennessee wildlife. It's what we do. Tennessee WildCast will be on the air again next week. We'll see you then.